on here and hearing what I have to say today. I really appreciate everything that the board has been doing for me with blasting it out on the MLS, blasting it out through emails to everyone, making sure everyone knows. It's really getting me far in my business, just by putting in offers for my clients. I'm having agents call me saying, "Hey, you're Courtney. I saw your picture on the MLS. I'm going to do my best to get your offer accepted." So it's really, really helping my business out a lot. And I couldn't do it without all the help from the board. So I wanted to start off by just thanking you guys for that from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, I mean, I could just kind of give you guys an idea of like what got me in this space and where I got this idea from. So when I first started in real estate, I was originally going to go to law school, and I had gotten into a bunch of law schools. I got scholarships to a couple of them, and I just realized I wasn't that excited about it. So I took a long, hard look in the mirror one night, and I realized that I liked the idea of telling everyone I was going to law school, but that was really it. So I just couldn't justify taking out a $200,000 loan just to impress people. Like they're not going to sleep at night thinking, oh, Courtney's going to be an attorney. No one cares at the end of the day. And it was a hard pill for me to swallow, but I'm really glad that I did, because it really opened my eyes to so many other opportunities. My whole family is all attorneys, so I never even imagined that I could get into a different field other than, criminal justice or something of that sort. So getting into real estate was really out of the box for me. No one in my family is involved in it at all. I had a couple of friends at school whose parents were real estate agents, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. I'll look into it. But where I started to see the success is when I got into the field and I started to actually get some confidence. When I got into the field, I had my license for a whole year before I started actually selling homes, because people were just looking at me like I was a little 22-year-old girl, which I was, and didn't really know much about the field at all. So I really think that confidence is key, and confidence is what really helped drive me, especially in the beginning stages of my career. Being so young, the fact that I'm not even 5 feet tall does not help me either. So I really had to convince people that I knew what I was talking about and I was passionate about what I was doing. I just started showing up at the office every single day, listening to people's conversations, asking them questions about what they're talking about. I remember when I first started, I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I was doing cold calls, and I had got a rental lead, and I called this tenant and um, I asked her what mortgage company she used, and she was like, "What? Like, what are you talking?" So I was really that clueless when I first started. So I think it really just goes to show that anybody can become a professional in this field if you apply yourself. So along with the confidence, you have to have discipline, right? You need to get up every single day and go to the office, even if you don't have showings, if you don't have appointments. It's just showing up. It's half the battle. Everyone always says that. For me, at least, that was so true. Showing up really was half the battle, because just being in the office, I was getting leads. I had agents that were saying, "This isn't worth my time. Here, you take it." And that was where I really started to grow. My first deal I ever closed was just given to me by Yellow Brick because I was sitting in the office. So I do think confidence is key, and just showing up, and also accountability, holding yourself accountable. If you write something down that you need to do that day, I make sure that I actually do it. Even if it's something as simple as just following up with someone I talked to yesterday, writing stuff down and making sure I do everything that I wrote down to do that day I've seen a lot of success from it. Um, so those are really, I say confidence, discipline, and accountability are my three things that I live by, and I really contribute to my career to that. When I was first starting, I was in the office and someone said to me, you have some real 30 under 30 potential. And I was like, that sounds cool, whatever. I just want to sell a house and make some money back that I just put into getting my license. But as the months went on, I started to look into it. I went to a couple YPN events, and we actually had a YPN event with what's Alex's last name? Alex. She got 30 under 30 that year, a couple years ago.
Caballo.
Kabbalah.
So we had done an event with Alex, and I remember just looking at this girl saying, "Wow, I could do that. That could be me. If anyone can do it, I can do it." So that was really that was a big turning point for me when I met her, as I was like, wow, this girl, she can get 30 under 30. I could do that too. So I really wanted to try and follow in her footsteps. And then Rachel, being a part of the board and just being active and having my face and my name around Rachel thought of me and she said, "Hey, Courtney, I want to nominate you to apply for this position. And I want to write you a letter of recommendation and I want to help you get to where you want to be." So again, without the board, I would have probably never been here. I owe a lot of my success to Rachel and to everyone at the NHMR board, because I really don't think I would be where I am in my career right now if it wasn't for you guys. And that's not to say that I didn't put the work in. I mean, I had to show up and be there and go to those events and ask if I could be a social chair. You know, I had to put myself out there and say, hey, I want to be involved. I want to do this. But at least I'm given the opportunity. You know, I originally was at the Fairfield board and no one even looked in my direction. Was, you know, just a speck in the whole entire pool of everyone. So coming over to New Haven really made a huge difference for me. And they really did give me that extra push that I needed to get to where I wanted to be. But half the battle really is just showing up, acknowledging what you want, what your goals are, and going after them. No one's going to do it for you. So you have to figure out what avenues you need to take to get there. If it's networking and getting your face out there and gaining name recognition because you want to be 30 under 30, 40 under 40, then you got to take that and run with it. So 30 under 30 has been something that's been on my radar for the last 3 years. And it's been something that has been my number one goal going forward for the last 3 years. So again, it's picking a goal, it's picking whatever you want to do and sticking with it and going after that is where I've been seeing most of my success. And again, accountability, discipline, confidence, all comes with that too as well. So that's
Thank
kind
you
of
so much, Courtney. And you know, part of what made me recognize that you would be a great candidate for 30 under 30 is your willingness, first of all, to come into YPN, and pretty soon after you started attending, you came and said, I'd like to be the social chair. So, you know, you really wanted to get involved, and then you did the darn thing. You know, you came and you showed up and you planned a bunch of social events and you brought all your enthusiasm, and you know, you and Moose did a great job with that and have really led us on some fun adventures. So, you know,
thank you.
the fact that
Yeah,
you're just have that enthusiasm and got in there showed me that you know, you're a great candidate for bigger things to come.
I was given the opportunity and I was made to feel comfortable around there, you know, like none of the agents in there ever made me feel like they were too good for me to go up to them and talk to them, or they were too good for me to go up to them and ask them questions. So I found myself in an environment that was not only providing me with opportunities, but I was surrounded by people that I felt comfortable talking to and asking questions with, and people that I wanted to surround myself with. I love going to the YPN events. I think they're so much fun. I've made so many friends over the last few years in them. So again, I think it's just been such a welcoming environment over here, and I really, really appreciate it, and I do contribute to a lot of my success to it. Um, I always tell everybody too. I always say, you know, they all see the glory, but they don't know the story. They see the Audi, they see the vacations, all that great stuff, but they don't see staying up till 1, 2 in the morning. I mean, I've had clients that have had me in tears, the way that they talk to me or the way that they're acting about things. So I mean, it's definitely not always rainbows and butterflies for sure. I mean, when I first started in real estate, I got jumped. I was in Bridgeport doing a showing, and I got jumped by this girl. I ended up hospitalized in a neck brace. And a lot of people probably would say, geez, I'm not going back into that field. I'm done with this. This is only my first couple months in real estate. Hell, I'm out of here. But for me, I didn't look at it that way. And you can't look at one negative experience in this field and label it as that's what real estate's going to be like. I was at a different brokerage before where I'm at now, and it was a totally different ball game. So it's another thing that I love about real estate is it is what you make it. You run your own business. You can do your everyday things the way that works for you. And I really like that. So my thing was, I'm just not going to go do showings in that area of Bridgeport. And if I am, it's going to be, you know, maybe I'll bring Moose with me this time. So it's definitely identifying your strengths and your weaknesses and rocking with those. I was the first to acknowledge when I got into this field that I didn't know what I was talking about. I never tried to just act like I knew everything. You know, I was very open to learning and letting people know, hey, I'm new. I'm 22 years old. And people really reciprocated to that. They don't like people coming in thinking that they know everything, especially in this field when you have agents that have been doing this longer than I've been alive. So it really, I think it really stuck with a lot of people when I would say, hey, listen, I'm brand new here. I'm going to bring you this buyer. Can we work together? Just be nice. Like being nice really does actually get you really far in life. I've had, a lot of offers get accepted just because I was kind of nice to the agent compared to all the other ones that were just sending these aggressive offers in. Sometimes it's just, giving someone a smile and saying thank you gets you really far in this field. So that's what I liked about real estate is I could find ways that work for me and that I find success in, and I can rock with them. No one's going to say, hey, you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. So that's what I really liked. But definitely they all see the glory but they don't know the story for sure. I could be here telling stories for days, but just keeping up with it, not losing faith or hope. Like I said, I had my license for a year before I made my first sale, so I think that speaks for a lot of the agents that are struggling right now to try and get some deals under contract, as it does take time. But I mean, show up every single day and you can get to where you want to be.
Now, I also saw recently that you were the #1 agent on social media. Can you talk a little bit about how that all came about?
Yes. So I didn't apply for that. Nothing. Property Spark is just a platform. It's a real estate platform, pretty similar to Inman, stuff like that. They basically just do real estate like articles, stuff like that. So last year it came out that I was ranked #2 real estate agent on social media, and my partner Moose was ranked #1. Complete surprise to us. There was actually a bunch of agents in our office that were listed for that top 50 real estate agents on social media. But this year, tables were turned and Moose became #2 and I became #1. So that might be why he's not on the call today. He's still trying to get over it.
He's crying his tears.
No, he was really happy for me, and it's just really cool to be able to kind of we're still keeping that up, and it works for us. I personally, he likes to go the comedy route with things. I personally like to do things a little bit more serious, so we balance each other out really well. And I think that a lot of people reciprocate to that when they want the professional side of things, and then when they want the lighter side of things, they kind of get both. So I think that's how him and I both keep ending up at 1 and 2, because we're pretty different, but also pretty similar in the same sense. But yeah, that has been a whole nother whirlwind in itself. So that and 30 under 30 both happened in the same week. So it was a lot of stuff to celebrate.
How do you think you got to that #1 spot on social media? Do you have any specific social media structure or outline that you go by?
And tricks. I again, like I do what works for me, right? So if I'm posting, like I'm very big into fashion. I love clothes, I love shopping, on top of real estate too. So my thing is like, I also post fashion stuff on top of just real estate. I don't just make it real estate because not everyone cares about just real estate. So you want to stay relevant to people in every aspect. Like I know a couple agents that are really good at cooking, and while they are always posting about real estate, they're also posting about their recipes and stuff too, because everyone in their little cooking sphere of influence, they all own homes, they all need to sell their homes eventually too. So I always kind of try to identify where I'm getting the most activity on certain posts and stuff, and then I'll stick with that. So again, fashion works for me. I like to post my outfits and stuff like that. And at the same token, a lot of these girls that are into fashion reach out to me because I'm the only one that they think of when they're like, oh, I want to go get pre-approved and buy a house. I've been following Courtney forever. So it's not just sticking with real estate, but it's finding some other nicks and knacks where you can build some more spheres of influences and just become that #1 person. My big thing is like, I don't try and lock someone in as a buyer right away. I just want to know that I can count on their business whenever they're ready. As long as I know that this person's going to use me at some point, I know that that's a guaranteed paycheck at some point in my career. And that's the way that I look at things. I don't try and rush people. I don't try and get someone to sign a buyer broker right that second. When we're writing the offers, when I have them sign the buyer broker, and that's just because I'm confident that they're not going to go with anybody else. That's just how I work. But again, that's the beauty of being in real estate, is you can kind of run your own business however you want. It's what works for me. So that's what I tell people, is find what works for you and run with that. Just keep running with that. If posting pictures of your dog is what gets you the most engagement, keep posting pictures of bring your dog to your next closing. Sold. I don't know. It works. It really genuinely does. And yeah, I want to say that's pretty much it. And just posting everything. I mean, this 30 under 30 thing is a huge deal. This #1 real estate agent on social media is a huge deal. But even if I weren't going to have, even if I didn't have those two accolades to be posting about and letting everyone know about, find other things that you can celebrate. Maybe you closed on something a year ago and you post, the house just sold this a year ago. People don't care what you're actually saying in these posts. They're looking at the pictures. And that's pretty much it. So it's just getting the content out there and just getting in front of people over and over and over again daily, just sharing your success. And it really does go a long way.
Awesome. I want to open up and see if anybody else has any specific questions to ask of Courtney while we have her here. Don't be shy.
So the most leads you got, that was from just networking when you were young?
The most leads, is that what you said?
Yeah, like when you started off.
So the most leads, like my biggest lead source right now is Instagram, believe it or not. I've sold a couple houses through Snapchat, closed on them, but Instagram is really where I'm going to be 26 this month. That's where everyone that I know is on. Everyone's on Instagram. So for me, I'm always posting on Instagram. I'm also posting like polls, like asking people to answer questions and stuff too, just getting people to engage. That way you can just kind of keep an eye on who's interested, who's not. You can even ask questions like, hey, how much would you pay for this property, right? Just see who even responds to you. You might get 5 people that respond to you, and those 5 people could turn into leads. So that's kind of what I do, is just try and get people's attention, try and get anyone to engage with me. And then that's when I can open up the conversation to, hey, what's your plans? What's your future looking like? What's your timeline looking like?
Thanks. Because okay, there's another question. How do you overcome the youngness? Like when I show a house, every house I've showed about like 3 or 4, and I had a couple appointments. Immediately I walk in, they're like, how old are you? Because I'm 18. They're like, oh my God. Like, how do you try to turn that around and make that a positive?
So I don't lie. If someone says, how long have you been doing real estate? And this was even in my first year when they say, how long have you been doing real estate? I go, oh, feels like forever. I'm not lying. It really does genuinely feel like forever. So it's just kind of finding ways to go around it. You never want to completely lie to these people. But there's just finding ways, how many years, how long have you been doing this? Just say years, plural, a couple years now. Some people you really can't get around it with, like they genuinely want to know how old you are, and that's the end of it. But that's the point where you come in and you're confident and you establish yourself as the only professional that's going to be able to get that deal done for them. So confidence is really key, especially when you're young in this field, because a lot of people, they'll laugh at you. They'll say, absolutely. I've had that happen many times where people laugh in my face. And even though I might not be confident in my head, and I know that Alan Stewart is in the office over and he could easily close that person, 10 times before I could, you have to just remain as confident as humanly possible. They don't know how many deals you've done. They don't know how old you actually are. You might look young, but they don't know. So I would recommend, definitely, like when I first started, I tried to get as many Zillow reviews as possible, even just people that I showed houses to. I'd be like, hey, I know this didn't work out, but do you mind giving me a review? I'm trying to build my business. Or, hey, I know this didn't work out, but do you happen to know anyone else that's looking to buy or rent? Stuff like that. Don't be afraid to ever ask for the business, especially if these people are going to laugh in your face. The least they can do is give you a referral, right? So that's kind of the way that I look at it. You have to embrace it for what it is. I have a feeling I'm probably going to look this age for a very long time. I guess I could say fortunately, but also unfortunately.
Fortunately.
So that's what I would say, is you really just have to come in super confident at that point, especially when you have people that are really hammering you with the age thing. I've been doing this for years. Have you met Doug Blackwood? That's who I work. I do all my deals with Doug. Like, are you kidding me? How could you laugh at me? I do all my deals with Doug. Like, you're crazy. You got to kind of find ways to, I used Moose a lot when I first started because he's a couple years older than me too. So when people would kind of give me backlash, I'd be like, oh, let me have my partner Moose get involved. He's a couple years older than me. So definitely take advantage of having people in your circle that can benefit you in any way, shape, or form. Doug would be a great person to say, hey, listen, check out Doug's Zillow profile. I do all my deals with Doug. Look how many deals he's closed. You're laughing at me. So just kind of find different ways that are going to benefit you. That's the beauty of being in this board and being surrounded by these people on this call, is all these people care about you. All these people want the best for you, and they all want to help. So take advantage of it. Take that and run with it, because it's very hard to come across groups like this where people genuinely want the best for you, especially in a field where it's a dog eat dog field. Really, everyone's out for themselves. So when you do find yourself surrounded by people that are open to helping you and open to helping you grow, take advantage of that. Take it and run with it, and you can pay them back in the future with referrals or whatever it is. But that's what I would recommend is, again, confidence, and then just finding those other people that you can really use as a sounding board almost for these other clients.
Courtney makes a really good point, because this is dog eat dog. There are some serious cutthroat agents out there, right? And they don't care. They'll steamroll you in a second. And when you come back and say something like, hey, you know what? I have done so many, don't look at my stats. Look at Courtney, look at Moose, right? We've done so much business together, like it's ridiculous. And look at how much they're doing, and be able to bounce off each other like that. It just compounds. Kim, like I have used Lori and Antonella more times than I can remember to say, I mean, Lori was my mentor, and Antonella and I were together all the time looking at business. It is using those little springboards makes you sound levels above other people. Whereas you get somebody who's like, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. Awesome. Who have you worked with? Well, I do my own business. Oh, so you're not a team player. Got it. That's I'm constantly like, I'll say seasoned agents who are like, yeah, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. And yet you don't know how to fill out that form. That's interesting. So it's definitely, I'm going to touch base on this. Zach, I was chatting with Zach over here on the other side. Zach, you have the drive to be right where Courtney is. I've seen it. I know it. And believe me, you keep grinding the way you are. We'll be having a Zoom meeting. Hopefully we'll be in an in-person meeting, but doing a 30 under 30 for you as well, because you've got it, man. I mean, you've got the confidence, you've got the drive. You're new in it, but you don't just have Calcani support, right? Keep going with YPN. You've got so much support here as well. But it is what YPN is all about, right? This is a group. Courtney said it as well, and I couldn't say it better. This is a group who we want to better each other. We want to make every other agent out there better. We want to make every transaction better. A lot of us have to educate clients, right? And just coming in here and listening to stories like Courtney's telling, I can go back and be like, yeah, okay, I never thought about using that idea with this, rapscallion of a client I have, and it's absolutely 100%. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I was like, I'm bursting over here at the seams with excitement for.
No, but Doug, I also want to play off of that, like you mentioned about the 30 years. They're trying to compare you as a newer agent to a 30-year-old agent. Bring up your skills, your advantages of being young and new. You've got the technology, and so you don't remember how to flip through a book. But you're up on the technology, whereas maybe that 30-year-old agent isn't. So bring those positives to the table.
Yep.
You're also, I'm going to jump into the other benefits. Two things is, one is you can use the fact that you're young and hungry, right? Somebody who's been doing it for 30 years, it's not the same desire, right, as you guys, right? I mean, I think back, Courtney and I did a couple of deals when she was early on, and she was out there hustling and talking to everybody and making sure she knew everything about everything to make sure her clients had the best experience.
Yeah.
Right. An older agent, someone that's doing a lot more transactions later on may not have the same level of caring because they may not have the time. Right. Use that to your advantage too.
Or they're in bed at 10 o'clock when Courtney was still working.
Right. Yeah.
Sure
I
was.
mean, I don't go to bed. I think the earliest I go to bed is about 1 o'clock. Right. And that's rare. And I'm up at 6 a.m. There is a statistic that billionaires don't sleep. Right. Like if you read it, like billionaires don't sleep. They'll take naps. They take quick naps and things, but they don't. And why? Because they can't. They've got to keep going. They've got to keep moving, right? And it's you think you get to that level and you're like, I can be on vacation all the time. Nope, never happened. I went to Florida, right? I went to Florida for 2 weeks. It wasn't one day I didn't work, but work.
Yeah.
You can't. Once you get into that rhythm of things, it never goes away. I don't see it going away. Not anytime soon.
I can also tell you that I was an agent, and the last boom Connecticut had in wherever that was, 03, 04, 05, and this boom is nothing like that. And this market is like no market I've seen in my experience. So the fact that you only have 1 year doesn't make anyone really that much better than you because they've never been in this situation before.
Exactly.
So that's the other thing that you got to remember. One of the things I tell, we have a couple new people in our office, is the biggest difference between experience and not experience is neither of us have ever been here before, but we remember that and we use that to our advantage. So there's a newer agent in our office. Every time he wants to know the answer to the question, you don't have to know how to answer the question or the answer to the question. You just have to know how to answer it. When you don't know the answer, you say, hey, I'll look into that, or I got a guy that I can call.
Exactly.
Those are the answers you need. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know how to get those answers.
Right.
And that's the resources. That's the people around you. You can pick up the phone and, you got a contract question, pick up the phone and call Doug. He'll answer it right away,
Yep.
And that's what people want to see. If you got the resources to get things done, they don't care how old you are or what you know. If you can get an answer to somebody and get back to them within 5 minutes, you're God to them, and that's what it'll always be. You're not lying. You're not coming up with everything on the spot. And if you tell them that you don't know, but you'll get it done or you'll figure it out, people will appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and tell them you have a great team behind you. I got Kilkenny team behind me, and I got that answer for you. You don't even have to say I don't know. Say I'll get back to you on that.
Well, and the best part is, right, like in here, right, I could definitely say, like, I know that I could call Courtney. I know that I could call Moose. I could be like, hey, have you guys ever dealt with this before? I've never dealt with this before. And I just thought about you guys, and just from our YPN connection, Dave, I know I could call Dave, right? And get an answer from them. If you couldn't call me or somebody else around, you could get that answer just from having this connection right here too, because it is what we do. I know Kishore will answer the phone. I know Mary Ellen. I know Ron will answer the phone, right? Sue will answer the phone. It is that answer is out there. One of my favorite things to say when I don't know something is, wow, that's a really good question. I never thought about it that way. Let me get the answer. I just told you I don't know. That's what I said. I don't know. But I didn't say I don't know, which is the worst thing in the world to say. Gee, I don't know. If you don't know, somebody else knows. Why am I talking to you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I kind of agree with that, but I also think that you can't know everything. So I don't feel bad about saying I don't know, because
oh no,
I don't know a lot of stuff.
I'm saying I don't know. I just say it in a different way. That's all.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to jump on real quick and say hi to everybody. It's my first time on the Zoom, so I don't know many of the people here, but I just wanted to say congratulations, Courtney, obviously on your success and the accolades, well deserved. And I also wanted to introduce everyone to my Baker's Boy hat and get your opinion, get the consensus on it.
Like
And
Newsies.
Love it.
all right,
Good.
great.
That's
Great.
great.
Looks like something out of Newsies. I don't know if you remember Newsies.
I
Yeah,
do
Newsies.
remember Newsies. I do remember Santa Fe. Isn't that something like that? But I've been multitasking, so I had it on like my my profile picture. So I just wanted to hop on and say hi in person and everything. So hi.
trip.
Hey.
Thank you for joining in, Christian.
He's one of our YB agents too.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, another thing that I've been telling Justin, who I just brought onto my team too, is take advantage of everyone's success around you. So like post when YP has a closing and just say, you know, my office, this just closed.
Yep.
You're not saying I just closed on this. You're just saying this just closed. You know, look what my office just closed. It's just building credibility for everyone that's seeing all of your content that's going out there. And it's just, again, establishing you as a professional in this field as opposed to anybody else. So I've seen Justin have a lot of success with doing that, and he's only had his license for a couple weeks. So I highly, highly recommend taking advantage of all of your office's success and using that to your advantage.
My first client that I had when I was getting ready to like bring him in was having like all these questions that I didn't know. So I asked Courtney, and they ended up talking. And he was like when we were talking separately, he was like, wow, she knows what she's talking about. And I was like, yeah, she's like the #1 social media agent. And he was like, oh, wow. I was like, yeah. I was like, thanks, Courtney, for that one.
Yeah, use it. I mean, I've even said to people at Yellow Brick, like, say you have someone in your office that's 30 under 30, because Yellow Brick's a small company. It's not, you know, William Ravis or Keller Williams. So some agents get backlash when they hear we're a smaller company. So I've told them, say, hey, listen, we have someone in our office that's 30 under 30. We have the top 2 social media agents in the state in our office. Use that to your advantage. I know Calcania has a bunch of their own accolades and stuff like that you can use, but again, just sharing their stuff that they've closed.
Yeah.
You know, again, you're not saying I closed on this, you're saying this just closed. If someone wants to read it like you closed on it, that's their prerogative. They could read it however they want.
Yep.
But I've seen a lot of success with that too when first getting started, is just, again, sharing other people's success. Not only does it help you, but it helps them too, just to get their name out there and show them. So you're also building relationships with other agents when you start sharing their success, and it's helping you also.
Yeah, I tag agents when I have a closing with another agent and they're on Facebook or on Instagram or something. I always tag the agent because it's like it was a team effort, you know, like it wasn't, you know, I don't get both sides of everything, you know. It's nice, but no, I like team play, you know. I like working with others. So yeah, definitely always tag the other agent, because they're gonna go, oh wow, you know, that was cool and it was professional, you know. It wasn't, oh, he's not saying like, oh, he did it all. No. It's
absolutely.
I actually picked up a client sharing one of Doug's listings. So thanks, Doug. It was the dumbest caption ever. And sometimes I do stuff quick on my phone, but I was like, look, an actual house for sale. And I shared one of Doug's listings, and somebody contacted me, and so I'm working with them to help them buy a house. So
yeah,
it works, you know.
End result is we are all here to service those clients, right? Like every one of those clients out there, we're there to service them. So for me, the fact that Dave was able to get somebody, to get a client and work with them just from showing something I listed, that's awesome. For me, that's awesome. I know there's other people out there that are like, man, why didn't I get them? But you know, that's them, right?
Well,
for me, that's awesome.
I was just trying to be silly and make fun of the market, you know. And you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it really worked for me in the beginning too. I mean, if I was driving down the street and I saw a YB for sale sign in front of a house, I would go take a selfie in front of it and post it on Instagram, Snapchat, and just say, house for sale in Milford. Let me know if you're interested.
Yep.
It would really honestly get me. And maybe that house wasn't an option, right? But then that opens the opportunity to have a conversation with that person about finding them something that works in their criteria, getting them pre-approved. It just opens up the opportunity to start having that conversation. And that's all you really need. Once you get there, you're the professional. You should be able to just lock it in from there. It's just getting those conversations started with people is usually what's the hardest part in the beginning.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
I actually just wanted to jump in really quickly and introduce myself. I didn't have a chance to do that at the beginning of the call, but my name is Caitlin, and I'm a brand new agent. Actually just got my license back in January. So yeah, so I've done a couple of rental deals since January. I've closed a couple of rentals, and just recently, last week, I got my very first listing to sell a condominium. So yeah, so super excited about that, but I got to be honest, it has not really been easy. It's tenant occupied, so the tenant initially said she was going to vacate at the end of the month and then said, oh no, I'm no longer vacating, and then called us over the weekend and said, oh no, now I'm leaving. So it's been a lot of back and forth with that, but I actually just before this call was on the phone with my client trying to talk through listing price. So I wanted to see if anyone had maybe any best practices on how to work through with, giving your client a price that you think it should be listed at. Of course, got with my broker, a couple of, the more seasoned agents in the office got a number, and my client is just not really agreeing with that. She thinks it should be a little bit higher. So I'm just like, oh, I don't know kind of how best to work through that. Obviously, we looked at comps and we thought this was the best price, but she thinks it should be higher. And then she asked me an interesting question. So we agreed on a number of 1049. And she's like, why do agents do that? Why do they do 1049, not 105? And I was like, you know what? I actually don't know. And I said to her, I was like, let me connect with a few agents in my office. I'll follow back up with you. But I thought that was a good point. I was like, I actually don't really know why we do that. And then of course, trying to agree on a price and working through that. So I don't know if anyone had any suggestions or best practices on kind of how to work.
Caitlin, before anybody chimes in as a realtor, I want to say hi. We've met before. Yes, and it's good to see you're out working. I've heard lots of good things about you from Julia, obviously. So and congratulations. And it's funny because I used to be a real estate agent, which I don't know if you know or not, but I took this Floyd Wickman class, and his big thing was to actually price at 1067 or and something different to make it stand out even more than everybody always did that. And then the thing was, oh, if you put it under 105, you do that 1049, it's so that it pops up if people are only searching up to a certain thing. But make that listing stand out and just be confident. Well, that's what I do. I feel it sells better when I price it that way, and just be confident in your decisions, because everybody's going to always want to list higher than you. And I lost listings because people did list, say they would take it 30,000 and they ended up dropping it down to what I had said, so I got a reputation in the market with agents that, oh, if Sue, I was Kamoli at the time, everyone called me, if Kamoli lists, has it listed at that, that's the right price. And, it's your reputation. So you stick with your guns. But I mean, I'm not a realtor anymore, but,
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to lose it. So I just, want to try and, of course, work with my client, but also, do what I think is best and what's gonna, really get it sold. So it's just kind of still learning to kind of talk through those types of conversations. I'm still kind of working on, but yeah, so I just, again, didn't know.
Well, Courtney, you're the pro here. 30, under 30, right? What do you say?
So, again, it goes to the confidence, right? When I'm faced with situations like this, I'll say to them, hey, listen, I'll list it for whatever you want. It's your property at the end of the day. It's your investment. I will list it for whatever you want at the end of the day. But I'm telling you right now, if we list it at this number, it's probably more than likely going to sit for a little bit. And then we might have to probably have a conversation about a price reduction. Is that something you're interested in? What's your timeline looking like? Are you looking to get this sold quickly? Because if so, we're going to want to price it the way the market has it. If you're not in too much of a rush, then sure, let's try it. What's the hurt? You're going to still get that listing. You're still going to be able to have your name on it. You're still going to get, the volume towards it. And at the end of the day, it's their property. So if they want to list it for that price, me personally, I always say, whatever if that's what you're interested in, if you're interested in letting your home sit for a couple months, that's fine by me. I have no problem listing it for you. That's the way that I like to go about the conversations, and I kind of tailor it that way. Is that something you're interested in, and waiting a little bit longer? Is that something you'd be interested in to do a price reduction down the line? Is that a conversation you'd be even open to having? These are because you don't want to set expectations right off the bat that we'll be able to sell this house or we won't do a price reduction. You want them to have the understanding that, hey, if this doesn't sell in a couple weeks, I'm going to have that conversation. Not once it doesn't sell for a couple weeks, then you say, hey, let's talk about a price reduction. Have that conversation up front. So you don't have to worry about it a couple weeks down the line, and they already know what to expect. You've made it very clear to them that it's probably not going to go under contract very quick. So it doesn't look like you're not doing your job. You're tailoring them to what they want, and you're making them aware of what the situation is probably going to look like. And that's all that people really ask for when they're hiring a professional, a real estate professional at least, is to give them professional advice. So personally, if someone wants to list a house for 10, 15, 20K more than I think it's worth, I'll do it. I just make it very clear to them, this might not sell. This might sit. There's other competition that looks like this at this price. That's the way that I always put it, and just kind of put it back into their hands. I always say, are you interested in that? That's like my go-to.
I like that.
Because I don't think it's very rude, but I think it's also very direct at the same time.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
I had a $1.6 million listing in Bridgeport that I valued at $700,000. At the end of the day, we closed the house a year later at $500,000. So I'm a big fan of take all listings all the time. They're great for advertising. You can run them right. And I joke, everybody's out there like, oh, closed in 3 days over ask. I'm like, yeah, I closed in 1 year at a third of list, so right. Better than me. But you could take that all the time, always. And I think in normal markets, I'd hardly call this normal. For every listing that you get, you should be able to pick up one buyer lead, if not a buyer client.
Yeah.
Because you will get someone who's interested driving by. And for the first time in my career, I actually picked up a listing off of a for sale sign. So someone was walking in the neighborhood, wanted to sell their house, saw my sign and called me. Wow. And that's the first time. So maybe this is a shift, but I always felt every listing you get, you should be able to get at least one more client one way or another off of it, through open houses, marketing, your sign being there, something to talk about with other people. Hey, how's it going today? Oh, it's going great. I just got this listing up and we met a photographer. Oh, listing. Oh, you do real estate. So I'm a big fan of take all listings always, even if it's not going to go anywhere, even if they're going to be crazy. It's always worth that for sale sign in the yard.
I agree completely. I had a listing in West Haven, cracked foundation. We knew that the house it was a complete tear down. And I said that in the additional agent remarks too. I made it very clear, cracked foundation. But what it did though, is it got me a lot of buyers. I think I've closed 3 buyers just from that listing that I ended up eventually taking off the market, because who was going to buy a house with crumbling foundation that needs to be torn down? Right. But it was in the additional agent remarks, right? So when it comes up on Zillow for all the buyers, they don't see foundation issue, blah, blah, blah. But they call me, I get them on the phone. I say, hey, just so you know, this house has a slight foundation issue. If that's not something you're interested in, I'm happy to help you with ones that don't have foundation issues. 9 times out of 10, they wanted me to show them different options. I did have a couple investors that said they weren't scared of it, whatever. Clearly they were, because the house never sold. But I got some buyers out of it just from being able to have that conversation with them.
Courtney, you brought up a really good point before, and I think that what you're saying is you ask good questions. When somebody comes up with an objection, which some of those things have been objections, you then ask a really good question. And my question to you is, where have you learned to come up with those good questions? Like you say, well, is that something you would be interested in? That's a really great question. So what's your resource for, I know you work with Alan and, a whole wonderful group there, but those are good questions. And I think that would be very helpful for especially new agents or anybody new in business, is to ask good questions. So how do you come up with your good questions, I guess is my question to you.
So honestly, I was raised in a very conservative, religious household, very respectful of anyone that's older than you. So when I got into the field and I found people that were sometimes like giving me an attitude, I could never give someone an attitude back like that. It's just the way that I was raised. I don't even want to say respect your elders because I'm not working with elders, but I just learned that it's not really, you know, the appropriate way to talk to people when you just say like, well, it's not going to sell for that much. It just doesn't get you anywhere. So I've really just had to process, you know, finding ways that can actually continue the conversation by being productive, right? So instead of just getting into an argument with someone, going back and forth, that's not productive at all. That's not going to get me to the finish line. It's not going to get my client to the finish line. So I try and come up with different routes, I guess is the best way to put it. Try to come up with different routes of ways to go about these conversations as opposed to just landing at a dead end. And I find that asking people questions and talking to them and letting them talk to me and express to me how they're feeling goes a really long way. People sometimes just want to know that you care about what they have to say. No one really taught me to ask these specific questions. It's just, I found myself in a lot of situations where it was like, okay, I can give this person a nasty attitude back, or I could try and find a way where I might not actually lose this business. And sometimes it's, especially when you're a young girl in this business, you give someone an attitude one time, you're out. You don't get another second chance. So you really need to learn how to talk to people. And I've just unfortunately learned that the hard way a couple times throughout the years. But again, just the way that I was raised to be very respectful of people that are older than you, or people that, especially people that you're trying to make money off of. These are your clients. You're going to make, you know, you're going to be paying your bills after they close their deal. So again, there's always different ways to talk to people. I've had a couple lenders that I don't work with anymore because my clients will say to me, I don't like the way he talks to me. He talks down to me. He talks to me like like I don't know anything. And they might not know anything, and they might be the biggest pain in the butt, but at the end of the day, they're the one that's paying your bills. So there's ways to talk to people, and there's ways to go about the conversation. And I think that, especially in this field, being someone that's so young and newer in this field, you got to kind of be respectful when you're talking to people. So that's just kind of the way that I've learned how to go about it over the years, is trying to find ways that are productive instead of just ending at a dead end. And I find that asking questions usually kind of continues the conversation as opposed to just ending it right there.
Sure, you always say that too. You always say that you try to, what you try to do in any kind of a deal is try to get what's going to get the deal moving forward, what's going to get it closed, what's going to get you to the finish line.
Yeah, there's no reason to like harp on something that's not going to make a difference at the end of the day on the closing. Or so I'm just always looking how can we move forward from this? Okay, we're at a disagreement here. What are we going to do now going forward, as opposed to just ending at this disagreement? How can we move forward from this? So I think that I personally think that that's what's gotten me really far with a lot of my clients, especially the ones that are a little bit more difficult and really question you. Is just tailoring it that way. Is that what you're interested in? Are you interested in waiting? I have a lot of people that are like, you know, I only want to buy a foreclosure. Okay, are you interested in waiting at, you know, probably 9 months to close on a house? Does that work for you? Some people say yeah. Some people are like, oh, whoa, no, not at all. No. So then you can move on from that right away.
It also appears to me when you ask the right questions, you save a lot of time.
Absolutely. I'm a big work smarter, not harder type of person. Very big on that. So yeah, if I can avoid, you know, a completely pointless 20-minute conversation about something that's not going to make a difference at the end of the day on the deal, I'm absolutely going to do that. I do work very, very hard. I just set business hours for myself 9 to 9 because it was just getting too crazy, these other hours and everything like that. So 9 to 9, that's what I try and stick to. But it works for me. Again, though, it's about finding what works for you and identifying the clients that you're working with. Some people, maybe you can't talk to them like that. But again, it's identifying who you're talking to first, and then kind of figuring out how you're going to go about that conversation going forward.
I actually just had a conversation with a client today, and a lot of it too is the why and the why for them. So I had a client, you know, why do you want to list at 109,000, or where did you get that number from? Or, you know, is there something that you need out of the house? So maybe they want to buy a BMW and they need to clear 40 grand. Maybe they don't understand the tax implications as well. So maybe, you know, they live there and they think they're going to have to pay capital gains taxes and they're not. So you know, you could figure out those questions, you know, just ask like, oh, why do you want to list at that? Or, you know, why do you think the house is worth that? It'll help you to gauge and understand where they're coming from, to talk on their level. So I screwed up this morning with the client. I forgot that it was the house she grew up in, her mother's house, and her mother recently passed. So, you know, I was playing more of the hard line and sticking to the facts, where she wasn't really ready to let her house go. So that's the other part of it, is like, she just wasn't, she knew she had to sell it, but she didn't want to sell it. So, you know, remembering that, like, look, I'll list the house at $500,000. I don't care. You know, and it took me a minute to realize, and then she finally made a comment about her mother, and it all clicked, and it just totally changes the conversation. So don't be afraid to ask questions to see how they arrived at their number or what they want out of it. You know, and really our job is listing a house for sale. We're not appraisers. We're not trying to pinpoint an exact value on a property. Our whole goal is to just price something to get people to walk through the door, you know, and the right person to walk through the door. So, you know, we used to do it in chunks at 25,000, you know, there's no difference between listing at 105, 109, and 114. You know, we used to say that those are all the same sale price because most people are 125 and under, you know, so things like that. So you can kind of stretch in those neighborhoods. You know, there's no difference between listing at 379 and 399, really. You know, you're under 400,000, and that's usually that next benchmark, you know, after 375. So depending on where you are and what it is, you know, just, you know, you can give the client a win, or, hey, that number works too. You know, so there's a lot of different things that you can do once you get in there, do that. And then, you know, just recently I started adding 947 to all my listing numbers. So it's 319, 947, because our office is 947. You know, and it's just same reason why when you turn on the TV, everything's $19.99 instead of $20, because you could say, oh, for less than $20, you get the penny less, right? But it still works, and it's still a gimmick, and people still fall for it. So stick with what works, you know. I don't know, but those telemarketers seem to make a lot of money at $19.99.
But wait, you'll get another one. If you order now, you'll get two.
Yeah. Start advertising houses at the monthly mortgage payment. 360 easy payments of $1,200.
At the end of the day, the buyer's going to tell you what that house is worth.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to tell your seller what that house is worth. So I do the same thing. What Dave said, I'll list things. And this does sound cocky. And if you know me, cocky is not me, and I don't like cockiness. I like confidence. I don't like cockiness. I have said to people, and again, Courtney said it, know your audience. I have said to people, I'll list your house for that price. No problem. I'll sell it for the price that I'm showing you, that, you know, that I calculated. So I'll list it at your price, but sell it at mine. I think you're hiring me to sell it, but if you're hiring me to list it, let's list it. And I have had people go, let me think about it. And like, you know, an hour, a day later or whatever, they've come back and said, yeah, you know what? I thought about what you said. Let's go with your price. And, you know, and it does sound cocky, and I don't like it, but it's the thing. It kind of puts it into perspective. Are you hiring me to list it, or are you hiring me to sell it? Because
like that.
I think you're hiring me to sell it. I don't think you want to hold on to this thing, paying taxes on it, you know, having it just sit there. I don't think so. Maybe you are. Maybe that's who you are, and that's what you want it to be. But I think you want to sell it, you know, and at the end of the day, that's why they contacted you, right? They want you to sell it. So, absolutely. Like Courtney said, depending on their time frame, maybe they don't care. I've got a lady right now, listed a house in Shelton, way over. But you know what? She's not in a rush. She wants her daughter to move into the house. She doesn't want to sell it. She wants her daughter to move into the house. Her daughter's buying a house with me, and she's moving into that house. So she's like, well, let's just see. And I'm like, okay, throw it at the wall. Let's see if it sticks. Yep, it's stuck. It's just sticking. It's not moving. So, you know.
It's not falling.
That's it. She hired me to list her home. She didn't hire me to sell it. Today we had a conversation. All of a sudden she's coming around to, I think I want to sell this. Oh, okay. You know, so Friday, look for a big price reduction on this house. But
That's good, Doug. That's really good.
yeah,
There's one more piece of inspiration that I'd like to ask Courtney to share with us, which she provided to me at one of our social events a couple of years ago. And that's Courtney's philosophy of I get to.
Yes, very big on this. Especially this past year, I've had a lot of losses in my family and a lot of tragedies go on this year, and it's really been a huge eye opener for me, and I'm sure everyone else too. It's been a crazy year for everyone, not just me, but it's absolutely been a huge eye opener for me of how important family and relationships are, and maintaining those and taking care of those. So I had said it at this YPN meeting, I don't even know how long ago it was now, how, you know, I really have started to embody the idea of I get to go to work, not I have to go to work. And I get to go see my dad on the weekends instead of I have to go see my dad on the weekends. And really just changing your outlook on life and looking at things as I get to do this, as opposed to I have to do this, really just makes a huge difference, not only on the mental, but just how you present yourself to other people too as well, and in your business, and in not just in your business, in your everyday life too as well. Just being so grateful that you even have the opportunity to do these things. You know, some people don't get to go visit their dad on the weekends anymore, and I do. So, you know, as opposed to saying I have to go do this showing, I get to go do this showing today. I get to have the opportunity to maybe list this person's house today. I get to go to this home inspection today. There's just different ways that you can look at things, and you just find so much more gratitude when you look at it from that perspective, as opposed to looking at stuff as this is a job, I have to go do this, this is another chore. No, you get to go do that. You get to go outside and mow your lawn. Some people don't have that luxury of even being able to walk, you know. Maybe that's a little aggressive and a little too far, but it's so true. And especially when with this real estate market right now, with how busy it is, you can look at this and you could say, I'm exhausted. I have to go do this appraisal. I have to go do this inspection, but that appraisal and that inspection is probably going to make you around at least $10,000. Okay. So you got to look at it from a different perspective as, oh my God, I get to go to this inspection and get closer to closing this deal, or I get to go to the showing and maybe get another client locked in. It's just different ways to look at things. And it not only helps you again, mentally, but professionally, you present yourself in such a different manner to other people, and you attract other people, and other people want to be around you and work with you. And that again gets you really far in this field. Sometimes just being a likable person will get you business in this field. So even though you're brand new or you're young, whatever that is, make sure you have the right mindset with it, because that will really take you 10 times farther with the right mindset. In my opinion, at least, it's gotten me 10 times farther. Again, like I said, that Bridgeport situation happened. I ended up in a neck brace. I've been a victim of domestic abuse, where I also ended up in a neck brace and was hospitalized. There's a lot of things where I can look at life in a very dark and angry way, and I could just go home and not be doing any of this. But at the same time, no one else is going to do this for me. I have to put myself out there. I have to tell myself this is where I want to be and this is what I have to do to get there. There's no pity parties or, oh, I have to go do this. No, it's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you where you want to be in life. It's not going to get you where you want to be in your career. So just changing your attitude on everything and just being excited about things and appreciative of things really, really will get you a lot farther in this career.
Yeah, very well said.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Well, I really appreciate everybody coming on today. And I really, really, really appreciate all the support I've gotten from the board. This has been so unbelievable. And for anyone that wasn't on here this morning or earlier, I was saying how I've gotten a lot of business just from you guys blasting this out all over the MLS. Just the name recognition itself is winning a lot of these multiple offer situations for my clients and making a huge difference for a lot of people who have been looking for houses for almost a year now. So thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Everyone that's been a part of this and helping me get to where I want to be. I know that, Rachel, you know this has been a big goal of mine for years now. So to actually be here having this conversation is so amazing.
I definitely shed tears when I saw that you attained your goal, Courtney. So
I appreciate that. It's
I-
been
I didn't
been
because I'm a
long.
prickly cactus.
Oh yeah, sure, Doug.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
crying.
been,
You're crying.
it's been a very long year. So it was a nice way to finally put an end to all of the darkness going on and be able to have some stuff to celebrate.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you all so much. I did
Yes.
put some items in the chat box, some upcoming meetings that you could attend if you'd like. And also, we're having a little promotion right now where if you haven't done so already and you text CTR to, I believe it's 52886, you can get on the CTR text alert program, but you can also possibly win free local dues for 2022. So I won't close out right away in case anybody wants to jump in and click any of those links, but we really appreciate everybody coming on today, and welcome to the new agents that have joined YPN. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yay.
Welcome.
Courtney.
Welcome.
Congratulations again, Courtney.
Congratulations,
Thank you, guys.
Courtney.
Congratulations, Courtney.
Congratulations. Great job.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you guys in person soon.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm
So
fully vaccinated, so I'm like psyched. I'm gonna like start getting out there. I'm like, yeah.
I will be on Thursday, Mary Ellen.
I am too as of Saturday, but I'm one of those Johnson & Johnson ones, and now I got to worry, I guess. So
uh-oh.
Well, you're
Yeah.
not a woman though. I think the women are the ones that they're saying that seem to have the issue with the blood
And it
clot.
was
but
6 out of like 7 million people.
I know.
yeah, I mean statistically, it's like extremely rare, but
Yeah. But my quarantine, the two full weeks of me after my second shot
Yeah.
is the day before my father's 101st birthday. So my goal is I want to see him on his birthday so I can hug him. I haven't hugged my father in over a year. I'm going to start to cry. I haven't hugged my father in over a year, and he's still alive. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you talk about gratitude, Courtney, and things like that. I think all of us in this field of real estate, who knew years ago when the market crashed and the real estate was bombing, we were all like, now who knew? I mean, look, we've been so thankful and so grateful that we've been in the field that we have in this last year or so, because
Absolutely.
other people are struggling and we've been so fortunate. And I feel very grateful about that. Very, very grateful. So
I agree 100%.
Yes.
anyway, I'm going to get going. I've got to get to work.
All right. Thank you all.
Take care, everybody.
take care, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody.
Stay well, everyone.
You too.
Yep.
Be happy.
Great
Hello.
job, Courtney.
Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Absolutely. That was a great meeting too.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
It was really